This year I'm gonna try something a little different. Normally I, stress about this a lot in practice and try and sound really good, and I don't. So this year,
That's not true. You always sound
I
good.
didn't do a whole lot of planning or prep. I will say it is I think it's my 5th year of doing this, so things don't change a whole lot as far as what I get to do up here. The Navy people, Coast Guard, Canadian Navy, and Army Corps people sometimes change, and then the vessels they bring also changes, and that's what we're here for, to talk about the ships they're all bringing in, as well as we'll finish up with some bridge lift information. If I haven't already, I want to thank the media for coming here and helping get the word out about Fleet Week starting. The ships are going to come in as early as this afternoon, and as they'll discuss later, tours and other aspects will start primarily beginning on Thursday. As you guys, if you've been here before, are aware, we do have some slides that are up during the presentation. A lot of the information on those slides can be small and cumbersome to read, so if you want a copy of the slideshow, please email me and I'll forward it back to you guys. And if you don't have my contact information, make sure and get it from me, and I'll email you the slideshow so you can comb through it and get out what you want out of there. And then lastly, questions. We won't do questions during the event, but after the event, any of the presenters or some of the other people out here have some information, including TriMet won't be up here speaking, but we do have a TriMet representative I'll talk about near the end, who's available for questions specific to specifically the steel bridge, but anything TriMet. So with that, let's just begin. Again, I've been doing this since 2019, and this Fleet Week, again, it's kind of a short tenure, but this by far is going to have the most ships we've had since 2019, as well as the most sailors on all the ships. So we're going to have a lot more people out and about in the community while they are here as well. So some of the people I'm going to introduce today have done this almost as many times here as me, and it's going to be kind of sad having them leave. So returning here specifically to this for his 3rd time, and again, this is only my 5th, representing the United States Navy is Rear Admiral Mark Ciccato, Commander, Navy Region Northwest.
Thank you very much, Sean. Yeah, only my 3rd time doing it, so, a bit of a rookie. So, good morning. My name is Rear Admiral Mark Ciccato, and I am the Commander of Navy Region Northwest. And on behalf of the United States Navy, we're excited to be back for Rosefest and Portland Fleet Week. Portland Fleet Week is the longest consecutive running Fleet Week in the United States. And this year, additionally, the United States Navy is celebrating its 250th birthday. A momentous event, and we're excited to be here. For the last 250 years, the United States Navy has deterred aggression and protected the United States interests abroad, protecting our access to the global commons, trade, and it is an integral element of our mission as a Navy to do Fleet Weeks, to allow the American people a chance to tour ships, see what their money is going towards, and really talk to a sailor, get to experience their lives. The real magic of Fleet Weeks are those conversations. This year, the United States Navy will have almost 700 sailors running around Portland. They're excited to be here. Portland is something that they are not normally get to go to, so I think you'll expect that they'll be both excited and curious about the city. For them, they're in the business of securing the United States interests, as well as being good stewards of taxpayer resources and the environment, and then lastly, being a good representative of the United States. So this year, the United States Navy is bringing 2 guided missile destroyers to Portland Fleet Week, the USS Jack H. Lucas and the USS Mustin. They will, as Sean already mentioned, they'll be arriving this week, and they'll be open for public tours from Thursday, June 5th through Sunday, June 8th, from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. The 4 p.m., the line may get cut off a little bit earlier based on how many folks are in line in order to meet our deadlines. So if folks are interested in coming to see the ship, I do recommend that they come early. Because we want to have a safe environment for all, there are a number of restrictions involved with coming to visit the ship. The first one is that anyone who goes aboard a ship must have a flat, closed-toed shoe. That is for their safety. The ship is an industrial environment. There are ladders aboard, stairways, and we're concerned about homing. The other requirement is that every visitor must present a real ID or a passport in order to get through security. This is a change from last year due to federal policy. Visitors should expect to see an airport-style screening, complete with metal detector. Of note, there is no secure baggage storage. So there's no room to, for example, store strollers, large bags, large diaper bags. Smaller bags will be allowed, however you can expect that those will be searched. There are a number of prohibited items to bring on board the ship. Weapons, to include knives, firearms, and club weapons. Any kind of defensive chemicals, sprays, mace, pepper spray, or spray cans. Fireworks, flammable liquids, or any explosives. Drugs and drug paraphernalia illegal by federal standards, to include THC products. Strollers, large bags, which I mentioned. And while general photography is allowed, the use of unmanned aerial vehicles or drones is strictly prohibited in the vicinity of the ships by federal law. Due to the industrial nature of the ship, anyone who has limited mobility or uses a walker or a wheelchair may be asked to not take the tour. In that event, the United States Navy will make a pier-side conversation with a sailor available so that you can still gain some measure of it. This is my third time and last time doing this event. We're excited to be back in Portland, excited to keep the tradition of Rosefest and the Portland Fleet Week running, and excited to allow sailors to experience Portland. Thank you all very much for your time and for being here.
Thank you, Admiral Sakato. And next, not to be outdone, representing the United States Coast Guard, returning for his 4th year in a row, is Captain Justin Noggle, Sector Commander and Captain of the Port for Sector Columbia River.
Good morning, thank you for being here. My name is Captain Justin Noggle. I'm the Commander of Coast Guard Sector Columbia River and the Captain of the Port here in Portland. It's an honor to represent the Coast Guard as we once again take part in the Portland Rose Festival and Fleet Week, a proud tradition that highlights the enduring partnership between this community and the sea services. Fleet Week isn't just a celebration of ships, it's a celebration of service. It's a time when the Coast Guard, the U.S. Navy, the Marine Corps, and Canadian Naval Forces come together with the public to build trust, foster connection, and honor the legacy of maritime stewardship in the Pacific Northwest. The Coast Guard has stood watch in this region for nearly 150 years, from life-saving rescues in the Columbia River Bar to maintaining critical navigation aids, and from protecting natural resources to facilitating commerce on our inland waterways. We're proud to serve as guardians of the Pacific Northwest. This week, we invite you to step aboard our ships and meet the people behind the mission. You'll have the opportunity to tour several Coast Guard cutters. We have the Coast Guard Cutter Eagle, also known as America's Tall Ship. She's a 295-foot bark and one of only 2 active commissioned sailing vessels in the U.S. military service. The Eagle trains future Coast Guard officers in navigation, seamanship, and leadership under sail. She hasn't been in the Pacific Northwest for almost 20 years, and we're honored to have her here with us this year. The Coast Guard Cutter Bluebell, home ported right here in Portland, is a 100-foot inland buoy tender who just celebrated her 80th year in service. As one of the oldest active cutters in the fleet, she remains vital, tending to 337 navigation aids across 465 miles of river. Her crew maintains buoys as high as 738 feet above sea level, navigating through 8 locks to keep maritime traffic flowing safely from Astoria to Lewiston, Idaho. The Coast Guard Cutter Henry Blake is a 175-foot keeper-class buoy tender based in Everett, Washington. She supports navigation safety along the outer coast. And the Coast Guard Cutter Blue Shark, an 87-foot Marine Protector class patrol boat from Port Angeles, Washington. She conducts law enforcement, fisheries protection, and search and rescue across the Salish Sea. The Coast Guard Cutter Eagle will be available for public tours Thursday, June 5th from 1 to 5 p.m. and Friday from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. and then Saturday and Sunday from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. All other Coast Guard cutters will be available for tours Thursday through Sunday from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. The lines may close early depending on demand, so we recommend arriving early to ensure a spot. And we ask that guests refrain from bringing backpacks, knives, multi-tools, or food and drink, except for water, on board, and only served animals are permitted on the ships. Another highlight this year will be our live search and rescue demonstrations featuring an MH-60 Jayhawk helicopter crew from Air Station Astoria. And times for the search and rescue demonstrations are Friday, June 7th at 7:30 p.m., Saturday and Sunday at 2 p.m. And the demonstrations will be held on the Willamette River near Southwest Ash Street. These demonstrations offer a front row view of the life-saving missions our crews carry out every day in one of the nation's most challenging maritime environments. To support the safety and security of participants and the public, the Coast Guard will enforce a safety zone on the Willamette River between the Steel and Hawthorne bridges from Wednesday, June 4th through Sunday, June 9th. No vessel or person may transit the zone without inspection and approval from the U.S. Coast Guard. Boaters should hail the Coast Guard on VHF Channel 23 Alpha for clearance. Once cleared, recreational vessels will be escorted through the center lane by Coast Guard auxiliary boats. Human-powered craft like kayaks and paddleboards may transit freely in the eastern lane but must remain within 20 yards of the eastern shore. Violations of the safety zone may result in civil penalties of up to $5,000 as well as potential criminal charges, but these measures ensure that all visitors can enjoy Fleet Week safely. Finally, if you're curious about careers in the Coast Guard or want to learn more about what we do, our recruiters and members from Sector Columbia River will be available along the waterfront Thursday through Saturday, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. The Coast Guard is hiring and we would love to talk to you. We're proud to be a part of this celebration, honoring Portland's maritime heritage, engaging with our community, and sharing the missions we carry out every day. Thank you for your time this morning, and we look forward to welcoming you aboard. Semper Paratus and Happy Fleet Week. Thank you.
Thank you, Captain Noggle. And last up, but certainly not least, because I'll be last, I'm going to talk about the Canadian Navy at the end. And this is his first year, and hopefully not his last, representing the United States Army Corps of Engineers, Colonel Larry Caswell, Commander and District Engineer of the Portland District.
Thank you, sir. So good morning, everyone. I'm Colonel Dale Caswell. I'm the District Commander for Portland District, Army Corps of Engineers. We're excited and honored to take part in Fleet Week again this year. Very proud to stand alongside the Navy. It's also our 250th anniversary, the Coast Guard, and we've been in the Columbia River for about 150 years ourselves, but also all the local partners and help celebrate this great tradition. So for those unfamiliar with the Portland District or the Army Corps of Engineers, we manage critical water resources across Oregon and Southwest Washington. Our missions include hydropower, flood control, navigation, fish and wildlife, habitat, recreation, and emergency response. Really, we work to balance the needs for environmental stewardship, public safety, and economic development. Specifically, when you look at our navigation mission, we maintain over 800 miles of federal navigation channel, levees, and coastal jetties. So keeping our waterways open and safe for commercial and recreational vessels, we do this through a combination of dredging operations and then also moving into the hydro surveys that inform this dredging. So for this weekend, we're going to have one of our hydrographic survey vessels, the Redlinger, come back out. She's visited a couple times before, but our survey teams will be there with you, and we'll go over how we monitor the rivers and the channels, making sure we have safe conditions. The Redlinger herself, she's a high-speed hydrographic survey vessel. Commissioned in 2010, she is a foil-assisted catamaran packed with advanced sonar and data equipment. She supports our dredging operations, identifying sediment buildup, and if you're a fisherman or commonly along the Columbia or the lower Willamette, you've probably seen her running up and down the river almost on a weekly basis. So we'd like to invite you, please come down and join us. We're going to be there Friday through Sunday from 8 to 4. Don't worry about special restrictions. She's currently moored up. She'll be moored up against the Blue Shark, the Coast Guard cutter. So if you can get across the Blue Shark over to us, you'll meet all of our restrictions. Just to note, though, it is a 30-inch gangway to get there, so it may be a little bit challenging if you're mobility restricted to get across to us. We'll have a couple of things to give away, but really we'll be there to talk about the mission of the Corps of Engineers in maintaining our waterways, and really look forward to seeing you. Thank you.
Right, thank you, Colonel. Okay, briefly, I'll discuss the Canadian Navy. They were unable to send a representative up ahead of the ship. The Canadians, as usual, are sending one of their Kingston-class coastal defense cutters, the vessel Nanaimo. She'll be here, she will arrive tomorrow and give tours on Friday. They kind of mirror most of them. Thursday, Friday, 10 to 4. Saturday, they have shortened hours from 10 to noon due to an event on the ship that afternoon. And then Sunday, back to 10 to 4. And I imagine they'll have the same kind of typical rules that if they need to cut a line early for any reason, they'll make sure and let people know about that. So then quickly, this has been out in the news quite a bit, but I do want to go over the bridge lifting, what we anticipate both today and tomorrow. This is slightly different than what went out, only because we have one ship that was going to come in today, is going to come in tomorrow. So we have 2 Navy ships coming in today. They're going to affect the Broadway Bridge and the Steel Bridge. We expect them anytime between 3 and 6. The actual time we're thinking is 4 and 4:30, but we like to put a range at each end because we know they can either be a little quicker or a little slower. Then tomorrow, we are expecting the 4 Coast Guard cutters and the Canadian ship. This will affect the same Broadway Steel Bridge, but in addition to that, the Burnside Bridge. Those arrivals we expect between 4 and 8, and again, likely closer to 5 maybe for the first one, and probably as late as 8 p.m. But again, always expect or anticipate some flexibility there. And then the Redlinger, as mentioned, it's coming in daily. That will affect the lower deck of the Steel Bridge only. So other than the train, and not the TriMet trains, but the actual train and pedestrians, it shouldn't actually have much effect on traffic, just raising and lowering the lower deck for relatively short periods of time. With that, and right before we close, I do want to mention that besides those of us that spoke here, if anybody has additional questions you want to ask, we do have Mark Miller back there. He's from TriMet, so if you have specific questions, because I always know that's, besides the ships, everybody wants to know how it's going to affect their commute. He would be the best person to ask TriMet related questions to, and again, among many things, the Steel Bridge and how that's affected. And then Monday, all ships are going to depart between 6 and 10 a.m. Again, somewhat up in the air, but that's usually a little bit more predictable because they're leaving right from the seawall, so we pretty much know when they're leaving. And the last thing I do want to mention, my plan, like usual, I'm going to try to tweet out on the Portland Fire tweet or X page that should get retweeted by a lot of agencies that I've talked to when the ships hit the mouth of the Willamette River. And then once that goes out, you can expect in about an hour is when the first bridge lifts will happen. So you guys can look on your X feeds for that. And then with that, that's about all I have. So again, please use your resources here if you have any questions or want to get additional information. And we'll hope to see you guys out on the ships. All right, thanks.
You said 6 to 10 on the slideshow, 7 to 11. I'm just curious to know.
For which one?
This Monday departure.
Oh.
Yep.
6 to 11.
6 to 11.